You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast, everybody. I'm Andy Smith.
And I'm Tim Fulton.
This week on What Do You Got?
What do you got?
I have...
Da-da-da. Bad teachers.
Oh, shit.
This is a fun one.
All right. So let's go over some bad teacher stories. You got any?
I do. I had a college professor for econ who I don't know what country he originated from. Very successful man, brilliant guy, but I could only understand 1 out of 3 words he was saying. So every lecture was lost. Every single lecture he had.
What class?
Economics.
Oh.
Economics, microeconomics specific. Microeconomics specific.
Okay.
And like, this was my first econ class. So, I mean, I get the basics from being a human being. There's supply and demand.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I have no idea what's going on. And he would also go off on these tangents. Super nice guy. I'm trying not to give him flack because he was a bad teacher, but he was like a good bad teacher.
Like a cool teacher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He would just go off on these things like, "You can do it. I believe in you."
Oh, like a horrible motivational speech,
Yeah.
but like he was a nice guy, so you had to listen.
Yeah, but like that would be like 20 minutes of every lecture, every single week for like 12 weeks. After like the third time, we're like, "We get it, dude. What are we supposed to do?"
I'm not paying to have you read shit off the Rock's Instagram.
I was starting to get convinced he just didn't have enough material for the full lecture, and he would fill it in.
Motherfucker. That would piss me off.
That's what I was thinking.
That would piss me off.
I can't prove it, but that's
as much as I hate school. If I'm paying for it, I better get my money's worth.
Oh,
yeah.
that was a
You
bad
better
one.
make me miserable with knowledge that whole class.
People would come out of that class like truly disheartened because they were like, I don't know what to even do.
I told you the calculus one with that, right?
I think so, but go ahead.
So I have a similar story. It was Willie P. And there was a professor there who was from, I believe she was from India.
Okay.
And she had a real thick accent.
Uh-huh.
And we were going, it was me and a couple of my friends were actually in that class with me. So we're sitting there, and for the first like month, like nobody's understanding what she's saying. Like she spoke some words really well, but then all the important words were just don't know what they are. Don't know what she's saying. So we're sitting there and like month and a week, month and 2 weeks now. And you can't not pay attention in calculus for a month.
No.
And then come back and be like,
can't.
"Oh yeah, got it. Haha.
You can't.
Just read chapter 2. Rate of change." So we're sitting there, and math was not my forte to begin with. So I'm like, fucking whatever, dude. Like, I know when to pull the pin, and I'm pretty much mentally checked out of the class. So I'm sitting there, and as she's talking, I look down, and she kept saying these couple words that like nobody knew what the fuck they were. And I'm looking down, and she's like, "Yeah, you have to determine, you after you determine, you do this and that." And we're like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" So I'm looking at my book, and she says determine. And I'm like, I look down, and I happen to look at the word determine. And I'm like, determine. And I, like a fucking asshole, I like pop my head up like a little gopher, and I'm like, determine. I'm like, guys, it's determine. And everyone in the class went, "Ah," and she looked like, she's like, determine. Yes. And we're like, determine. It's fine. Like, it's fine. And this kid, Jamie, he looked up, and he's like, "Been determined the whole time." I'm like, yeah, determine. I guess you could say it like that if you pronounced it exactly how it's spelled. So yeah, that was a funny one. but it wasn't funny because
mean,
a lot of people failed.
It's funny in hindsight, but it's not funny at the time.
That was the class where at the final, I sat down, I opened it up, I looked at it, I started laughing to myself because I didn't even know how to fake an answer.
Yeah.
And I looked at my buddy and I was like, I'm not going to waste 3 hours of my life. I walked up and I put the thing on her desk. I'm like, I'll see you next semester. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we both know this isn't going to happen.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I used to have an English professor or English teacher.
Okay.
High school days. She would, to put it politely, she was a raging bitch.
Yeah.
She was just like a bitch. And she used to say ladies and gentlemen a lot. And we caught on really fast that it was just a saying of hers. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to, and it bothered everyone, but they tuned it out.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I tuned it in and I started counting. So the entire year after the first week, she would be like, ladies and gentlemen. And I would be like, I've never paid attention so much in a classroom. She said it like 400 times.
Was she like an asshole?
Oh, she was a bitch.
Oh, really?
I remember this, I don't even remember who, so I can't drop names even though I wanted to.
Okay.
A girl came into class saying she needed to speak with another student real quick. And the teacher, not a professor, I'm not going to give her that luxury, was like, well, I need to know what this is about. And she's like, it's a private conversation. I just need to talk to her for 2 seconds. And she was like, no, I'm the teacher. You're going to tell me what this is about.
No.
She asked for a tampon. The girl was trying to give the other girl a tampon. And now the teachers, they're privately trying to do this. And the teacher's saying, you need to tell me what this is about now. And the girl's like, no, I don't. I'm not your student. And it was just like this huge back and forth. And like, I felt bad for the girl in the back because like, because the girl.
So the girl in the back is the one that needed one?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And you just see her sing. And like, we're like sophomores. Like,
yeah, you don't know how to be. You don't realize that it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal at the time because everyone's in that like he.
Yeah, we're all in that stupid phase.
Immature shit.
Guys don't even know what tampons are at this point.
Yeah.
Like, but like it was stuff like that, but just constantly. Like, dude. I've never had such an unproductive class, and that includes the guy who I can only understand a third of the time.
There was
terrible.
There was one teacher where me and my buddy Ron, shout out to Ron, had big issues with. She had issues with us, I should say.
Okay.
She was like, the one with mine is just like real quick, just to give you like a little bit of a background. Like, she was one of those teachers, like, say there were 16 kids in the class.
Yeah.
She'd put up 15 subjects on the board and be like, everyone's got to do a paper, no doubles.
Ooh.
And I was the fucking asshole that didn't pick one quick enough. So she tried to fail me because I didn't have a topic. I'm like, you put 15 on the board, 16 people in class. I know you're not a fucking math teacher, but this is simple addition and subtraction. I'm not going to have a topic, you asshole. So that was a whole big thing. But she was like stuck to her guns with it. Another thing that happened in class was this kid, Noah. He was like one of those kids who was like, how do I describe Noah? Looked like one of those kids that was like into heavy metal, had like a Batman tattoo, like into comic books. But you know those kids that are like that, where like they don't hang out with the popular kids or whatever, but they also don't take shit.
Yeah.
So he was one of those kids. Goes up to her before class starts. We're all sitting down, a couple minutes before the bell rings. He's like, hey, Mrs. I'm not going to say her name. Mrs. Bitch, I need to go get my books. Can I go get my books for class? They're in my locker. I was talking to, one of the teachers. Yeah, go ahead. Goes up and gets his books. Now, the staircase meets at the bottom, and the door to her classroom was right in front of the staircases, like the set he was coming down. And the doors were like the old school wooden doors with the big one window in them with chicken wire.
Yeah.
So he's coming down the stairs from the book. The bell rings as he hits the bottom step, and she grabs the door and closes it on him and locks it. And he's like, can I come in? She's like, oh, no, you're late. You have detention. Go to the principal's office. And he's like, can you open the door? And she's like, No, you're late. Go to the principal's office. He's like, you said I could go get my books. She's like, I didn't say you could be late to class.
Oh, yeah. See, that's just...
You know what this kid does? Epic. Takes his books, throws them at the window. And as he's throwing them, he says, you said I could go get my books, you fucking bitch. Like, top of his lungs. And just smashes the books in the window. I'm like, yes. But the ultimate, and this is, I'm going to say this is allegedly what happened.
Okay.
Allegedly. Somebody's who I'm friends with, who won't name, is in class. And I believe how the story goes is, you know, I can't pay to fuck attention in class either, especially if it's not something I'm used to. So
Fair.
One of the most common things people that can't pay attention to is they take apart their pens, right?
Okay.
You take the whole thing apart, and then you put it all back together just because you just got too much energy to sit down.
You need something to do with your hands.
Yeah, plus you don't want to listen and you're
Bored.
school's not your thing. So my buddy is doing this. Same teacher looks at him and says, you have a weapon. You can't have that on your desk. That could be a weapon. Put it away. It's a pen in a different form. It's just a pen taken apart.
Arguably in a weaker form.
So he starts to be like, what do you mean? Like, he's being very polite about it. And she's like, put it away. So he puts his pen away. A couple minutes later, going to class. Everyone's taking notes. How come you're not taking notes? I had to put my weapon away. I'm not allowed to put... Principal's office. Goes to the principal's office. I think this is how the story goes. Goes to the principal's office. She says some crazy shit like she recommends him for like psychiatric evaluation or some stuff. But his mom finds out about this, goes to the school, waits in the teacher's parking lot.
Oh, shit.
And this lady's like a prissy, like I was the captain of the cheerleading squad in the 60s when it meant that I used to make fun of everyone who wasn't cool kind of fucking vibe.
Okay.
She goes out in the parking lot. Allegedly. Fucking buddy's mom runs up on her, throws her against the car by the throat. Says, if you ever speak to my son again, I will fucking kill you.
Oh, my God.
Fucking nose to nose. Lets her go and leaves. I was like, yes. Allegedly, that's what took place.
I mean, to be fair to her, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Now, that I believe that is the story. I will get confirmation later if that is exactly what happened. But that is the main... I hit all the main points of the story. Who is the worst... Do you have any bad stories of what happened when you were like any bad, horrible teachers when you were younger? Like a kid? Because that's the worst. When you don't know how to handle...
When you're young and you don't know how to handle a bad teacher.
Yeah, because you're scared because they're an adult and like they're just miserable with life. I had a couple of those.
I don't think I ever had one when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was this is going to sound super cocky and bad, but I was an adorable little kid.
Okay.
So adults liked me.
Well,
I
can't we all be so lucky?
Sorry, dude.
Okay.
It just was how it was.
My one teacher, it was in I believe the 5th grade, because it was not at the younger school, it was at the middle school. She was a fucking tyrant. She was a big lady. Not just like big, but like she was like 6 foot tall.
Okay.
So like as a child,
She's massive.
yeah. And she was one of those teachers where it's like, you're only to write in blue or black ink. And if you write in anything else, like I will dress you down in front of the entire class. And the one day we had these little note card boxes, and the one girl like wrote in like a fucking red pen, or like she wrote in something that was like an erasable pen. She picked up her box of note cards and smashed it against the chalkboard.
Good.
And she's
God.
like, "Get out in the hallway!"
How
like,
old were you?
5th grade.
Jesus.
And like this was like, I'm not even exaggerating at all. Like this is exactly what happened. She smashed it against the chalkboard and it was like screaming at her to get in the hallway. Girls crying and all this stuff. And then like I wasn't like a big kid. Like I was tall, I guess, for my grade, but I wasn't like, you're a fucking 5th grader. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I had going for me there was that I come from the family I come from, and like once I had enough, I had enough. And she was yelling at me for something because I forgot a pen, and I got sent out in the hallway too. And meanwhile, the girl that forgot her note cards has been standing out there by herself for 20 minutes.
See, that's
Because
like abuse.
she's like making an example out of her or whatever. So I was in there, and I normally like I don't know how to fucking talk back to teachers and shit like that. So I'm standing there, and what made me so pissed was how she was talking to the girl next to me, because now she's not talking. She's only talking in front of me and her, and she's like, if you keep doing this, like, she's like, this is the problem. Like, you're never gonna fucking do it. Like, she's basically like just like instilling all these horrible things in this little child's mind.
Yeah, to a fifth
And I'm
grader.
standing there, and my dad was a DARE teacher there at the time. And I remember because he was in a class, and she'd always be real nice about this. And she comes over, and I'm like looking at my feet because I'm like kind of terrified.
Yeah.
And she's like kind of like reading me the riot act. And I remember I just like looked up at her through my eyebrows. And I said some shit like, I'll be sure to let my dad know that I got in trouble today. And she was like, I'm like, yeah. I said it.
Like, Dad.
Fuck you, bitch. Yeah, I fucking hated her.
This is my only card.
Yeah.
Some teachers, it's funny because you get some teachers who, I don't want to say love life, but like they're eager to teach and they love
They're
when
great.
kids learn. And then you get some teachers who are just so bitterly defeated in life.
Don't they all have the same look?
They do. We had this one teacher, we played an April Fool's prank on her. It was 6th grade where we passed around a note and we signed it. Everyone signed it. It said, Happy April Fool's, blah, blah, blah. No passing notes in class, obviously. So she caught us passing notes around. That was the point. That was the plan. She takes one look at it, crumbles it up, and says, I'm sorry you guys wasted your time on this, and throws it on the ground. Come on, dude. We're 6th graders. That was funny.
You're an asshole.
That was funny.
Dude.
Calm your ass down.
There was one.
It was cooperation between an entire classroom of kids.
That's a miserable person who shouldn't be teaching.
Yes.
There was
Don't become miserable teachers.
There was
Find light in your
whatchamacallit. There was a teacher who, it was 7th grade. She was pretty cool. Her name was Mrs. Keenan. She used to let us. She let us watch Gladiator. All right. She was awesome. One of my favorite teachers. That's why I still remember her name. We had another teacher who was an English teacher. She was young, and she was into like heavy metal. Like you could tell she was wearing like a Slayer t-shirt underneath like her school stuff. But she got so comfortable with the one class, she slipped up once, and she unintentionally started talking about a sex dungeon she had in her house with her husband.
Whoa.
She said something, and we're like in 7th grade. So like there's a couple kids in that grade who are like mature enough to make like adult jokes and like almost trick you into thinking that they're an adult. And if you're not looking up and being like, oh, that's a 7th grader's face.
That's a child.
You're not. So she's like looking down at the paper, and I forget what we were saying. And we're going back and forth. And this kid who was a transfer student from some southern state was sitting in the back. And he used to count the holes on the tile on the ceiling. So all day in class, because he was like fucking shot.
Yeah.
And he would just be sitting back like this the whole class every day. And she was doing something, and the kid never talked, never got called on. And with the conversation was going, she's like, yeah. She's like, you go from this, that, and the other thing. She's like, next thing you know, you got a sex dungeon in your house with your husband. And she's like, and the kid was counting the tiles, and he sits up, he goes, what? She's like, what? And then she's like, nothing. And like she didn't know what to do, and everyone was like, no. Tell us about the sex dungeon in your house. It was
Oh my god. Did you see the thing on the internet? It was a teacher who called out a girl. Apparently this teacher had this policy where if you get a phone call in class, you have to answer it on speaker.
That's never gonna end horribly.
So this girl, it happens, and this girl answers the phone, and the people go, "Hi, this is so and so from Planned Parenthood. We would just like to congratulate you. It's a girl."
Oh my god.
And you see the teacher, his face just goes.
Oh, they joke, they pranked her.
His face just goes white. Well, there's a recording of it, so you can see what's
Okay.
his face just goes white, and she goes, all right, and they're like, we know the father's out of the picture, blah 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 blah, all this.
This is high school.
High school. They're going through the thing, and they're like, if you need any support, we'll be here, blah blah blah. And she's like, all right, thank you, I'll be sure to be in contact. She hangs up the phone, and the guy goes, I want to apologize so hard. And she's like, it's okay, I knew this was coming. Do you want to hear the name? The guy goes, that's really not necessary. And she's like, no, it's fine. Her first name is going to be April, and her middle name is going to be Fools. And you just see his face. He's like, oh, I get to keep my job.
Dude.
And
See, that's why I don't like rules like that when teachers think that they're, like, again, it's all funny and shit like that, but at the same time,
you don't know.
you don't know.
I think he learned a lesson in that moment. I think it came from a good place.
There were some horrible teachers, but there were some horrible kids too.
The
I remember,
horrible kids to me were worse than the horrible teachers.
dude, twice. I remember specifically making kids in my class making the teacher cry to the point they had to leave the room.
That's ridiculous.
One was a computer teacher, and it was two kids who I'm not going to name, mainly one of them. And the teacher was like one of those teachers who, like, she could tell she didn't love teaching, but she wasn't rude. She was just kind of one of those people that didn't really know how to control kids.
Yeah.
And she got easily upset. Probably not the best profession. So, and we had two kids in the class that were like hyper and didn't give a fuck. This is in the sixth grade. And they just start saying, they're calling her a cunt. They're calling her fucking, like, you're never going to find anyone. You're just going to die alone. All this stuff. She is, like, mascara running. And I'm sitting in the back like, guys, like, don't want to be the party pooper, but you realize that she's going to go tell someone. And everyone's going to get in trouble, right? That was bad.
Yeah, they have crossed
The other time, which is even worse because we're older, it was again in a computer class, and we had a substitute teacher. And it was when those
substitutes.
it was when that thing came out where you could, like, type in, and it would be like, "Hi, my name is whatever," from the computer.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine all the horrible shit that they're putting on. And this lady was, like, probably in, like, her late 50s, and she's sitting there, and she was yelling at us, like, pretty sternly. But I wasn't typing in there. The other maniacs in the class were. So she yelled at us a couple times. I stopped. So they start writing some horrible stuff, like just kill yourself, all this stuff. So she gets up, and I'm like, great, she's fucking pissed now. She walks out of the room, and I'm like, cool, guys, like, thanks. Like, because the teacher that we had for that class was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's going to be so pissed when he gets back because he basically is like, guys, don't fuck it up. Like, we have a good thing going. We do whatever we want in this class. Like, don't fuck it up.
Screw it up. Yeah.
So we're like, she's going to get the principal. We're fucked. She comes back holding, like, a whole a roll of paper towels on her face because she's crying so bad.
See, that's miserable.
And I'm like, guys. And nobody, like, one of the kids was like, and the other kid was like, fuck her. I'm like,
See,
dude,
that's why you should be allowed to beat kids.
Huh?
That's why you should be allowed to beat kids.
Yeah, that's when it was kind of like, I understand why teachers used to fucking hit kids.
Yeah.
Because
Shit like
can
that
you imagine somebody doing that to, like your significant other, like, or your brother or your sister?
No,
Like, you'd want to beat their ass.
you would want to beat their ass.
Yeah.
So, two quick good teacher stories. I know we got a little bit
Yeah,
off
yeah,
topic here, but on the same computer science teacher thing, I had a computer science class senior year of high school, and my buddy, we found this program that would let you communicate. Same thing, communicate over the computer. He found a way. I don't know exactly what it was. If this was like 15 years ago, whatever the fuck it was, but he found like a button or a command, and he wasn't sure what it did, so he used it, and he said like something like not prawn, or he said all your base belongs to us. He used that stupid
All your what?
base belong to us. It's a stupid video game quote from years ago.
What's that from?
It's some stupid video game.
Okay.
Anyway, it went out over the network. the entire network. If there was a computer hooked up to the network, it popped up as a message. And I'm not saying like in the high school. I'm saying in the high school, in the middle school, all 5 of our elementary schools, every single computer got this message. And he was just like, and our teacher saw it too, because when I say his computer, he's like, "What did you do? What did you do?" So sure enough, like the techs of the high school came down and they were ready to like not expel him but suspend him. And our computer science teacher was like, "Listen, this is a computer science class. Like, yeah, he was off topic here a little bit, but like he's learning about computers. He obviously." But
why'd they want to expel him?
Because he did something. First off, they didn't know what the message was, so it frightened a lot of people. This was like, again, this was 10, 11, 12 years ago, whatever it was. So no one knew what the fuck all your base belonged to us are. They were like, "Are we under attack?" And like, it went to every single computer.
Okay.
So once they finally figured out where it came from, they were like, "You're in trouble. Like,
yeah.
This is serious." And like, our computer teacher talked them down. He got not an ounce of trouble. Not an ounce of trouble. So there was cool story number 1. Number 2, I had this English professor senior year as well. She was awesome. She was definitely smoking up every single night.
Okay.
She knew we were checked out because we were seniors and it was an English class and it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So she tried to keep things fun, but she also kept it educational. It's weird. Like,
she was a good teacher.
She was a good teacher. So we were reading this one book and she was out one day. So we had a substitute in, and the substitute was like, "Why are you reading this?" She's like, "This is one of the most renowned bad books ever." And like, she like ripped into it.
Was it a good book or was it a shit book?
It was a decent book. I don't remember what it was. It was weird.
So Clifford goes to the...
Clifford, the big red dog. It was a weird book. I won't go into details. But our teacher... Oh, no, I'll give her this one. Our professor comes back to the class the next day. And we tell her, we're like, "That sub really did not like this book." And she's like, "Well, that simple-minded human being does not know what she is doing. And I will explain why." And she just lays into this other woman for like 5 minutes on why she's wrong and on why the book is amazing. And like, we didn't care why the book was amazing.
It's adult talking shit about another adult.
Yeah, we're just
you're like, fight.
We're just like,
yeah.
Oh shit. And it made us want to finish the book. It really wasn't a good book, but
yeah,
it was just like,
it gets you involved to where you're like, you got some stock in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now like, yeah, I'm with you, professor, because that was fucking awesome.
All right. Any more stories about teachers?
I
think this has been running on long enough.
Yeah, I think this. I could go on for forever.
Yeah, we can come back with some other stories on another part 2 of this, but
part 2 bad teachers.
Yes, sir. So,
all right.
Close this out, bud.
All right. So for now, why don't you guys go to brodownpro.com? We always have some new and interesting stuff, such as the V-neck shirts available for men and women with all your favorite classic designs on them.
We also have our Christmas special.
The Christmas
sweaters
ears.
For ugly Christmas sweater parties.
If you're going to an ugly Christmas party, you will not look better and or worse depending on your opinion.
And honestly, I say wear it to a regular Christmas party.
No, it actually is really cool.
They're festive.
Why don't you check out for yourself or going to brodownpro.com. Did I just do a little that thing?
Yeah, you did. You did it. You did it.
All right, peace out, everybody.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh,